Supervive is peak. It's just peak. If it weren't for the fact that the playtest literally ended, I would probably be playing it right now instead of writing the script and recording this video. In the live service landscape where games pop up and disappear within seconds, having a game hold your attention for longer than its release period is a rarity. But you know what's even rarer? Having a game hold your attention before its release period. Supervive isn't actually released yet, it's only in a closed beta test, but I absolutely love this thing. I had played in some of the previous playtests back when it was in a closed alpha and when it was actually called Project Loki, and it has only improved since. And since the NDA has been lifted, I'm so happy that I can finally talk about it in detail. An unfortunate fact about me is that I was a League of Legends player. With just a couple hours in the game, not too many, don't worry about it. I say was because over the last few months, I've been getting kind of bored with the game. The balance direction has been annoying me, and in general, I think I've just had my time with it. I mean, after this many hours, you'd really hope so. The reason I bring this up is that Supervive was made by ex-Rioters, and as you can tell, it's obviously a MOBA. It's got that top-down perspective, so it's very League of Legends-like. But it's not just some League clone. This is a MOBA Battle Royale. Though depending on who you are, this very well could have just turned you off from ever wanting to try this game, but hear me out first, lads, okay? This game avoids a lot of the common MOBA problems while still attaining some of the MOBA strengths. Stuff like last hitting, finding the right build, even needing a PhD in order to read through character passive and abilities is completely absent. But let's start with the core gameplay so that you can see what we're dealing with. You drop in, you kill some monsters, you get your loot, your levels, you get some more abilities, and as you progress through, you get your items, storm starts to close in, you fight other squads, last person standing wins. Very typical Battle Royale gameplay loop, but obviously, if that was it, I would not be here talking about it. This isn't the first MOBA Battle Royale or anything, it's not like we've never seen this before. The big thing that sets Supervive apart from its competitors, to me, is its mechanics. Unlike most MOBAs, you need to actually aim your regular attack. If you're unfamiliar with the controls of the MOBA genre, it's as if you're inputting commands to your character through your mouse or your hotkeys and it acts them out. Yes, you're still controlling them, but it's different than in other games because everything revolves around your mouse. In Supervive, it's much closer to the control of regular games. I don't really know if there's a term. You're aiming your attacks like I already mentioned, but you also move with WASD. This feeds further into the game's control when it comes to abilities, but I'll touch on that in a moment, because the important thing to talk about is that this game has a Y-axis. You can jump or fall, which can end up dodging attacks, and you'd think with this kind of top-down perspective it wouldn't work that well, but the Theorycraft devs really thought of this and the height indicators work wonders. And now, for abilities. As someone who's been playing League for years, the dashes in this game are weird to me, but that's not to say they're bad. I'm used to having to aim my dashes based on my mouse position, but now they're aimed based on movement keys, which makes fighting, at least when my muscle memory doesn't take over, extremely smooth, as you can still focus on aiming during the fights. And speaking of dashes, I can finally talk properly about this game's character design because I love it. So many characters have abilities that change based on the action they're being performed during. The most common is how a lot of characters have an air dash on a separate cooldown from their regular dash, where a jump into a dash will send them further. But one of my favourite characters, Brawl, takes this to the extreme because this lad has 4 different right clicks. A tap, a hold, a jump, and one that combos to his tether. Another one of my favourites has been Jewel. Stacking stacks of static on characters, which is a mouthful to say, then dashing through them to trigger big number damage, and then reset that dash cooldown. It all just scratches my brain in a way that may not actually be healthy for me. Of course, there's more than just these two, but they were some of my personal favourites to play. But another character whose design I adored to play with was Celeste. The applications for her wall are insane. I was playing with a Celeste and she got a wall that shoved 2 enemies off the island which we were on, which let me spike them into the abyss. Oh, and abyss spikes. Have you ever played Lucio in Overwatch? Or just anyone with the ability to go for environmental kills? Well, the entire cast of Supervive can do that. It doesn't matter if you're the better designed Roadhog, fully melee, or not even paying attention. When someone flies over the abyss, if they take any damage from anyone at all, they're sent straight down and killed instantly. There is no better feeling than hitting a spike in this game. It's just true bliss. And when it comes to common problems a lot of people have in both MOBA and Battle Royale genres, it does a good job at fixing them. No one likes being killed in a squad match of a Battle Royale, especially if you get finished after being downed. You're just left at the wayside with nothing to do, or you get revived but now you're missing everything, and depending on the stage of the game, things can get worse because you're just a paperweight to your team, which is going to be even worse in this type of genre where, you know, MOBAs, if you don't have stuff at a certain stage of the game, you're screwed. But in Supervive, not only is there a variety of ways to be revived, whether it's just someone standing over you when you're a wisp after being downed, also helped with the variety of ways that characters can interact with wisps. My absolute favourite is the fact that Kingpin can just hook wisps, doesn't matter if they're an ally or an enemy, to him. You can also get revived from your death box or from revive beacons, but my personal favourite part is that you don't lose your main items. There's 3 different item types in Supervive: equipment, consumables, and powers. You get to keep your equipment upon being revived, it doesn't get lost or anything, and you only lose your consumables and powers. And I do want to add that this game streamlines the MOBA item and build learning curve. The stats you get from items are very, very simple. Move speed, cooldown reduction, mana, ability power, health, you get it. There's items that characters will prefer, but it's not like your game plan is over if you get a mana blade instead of a quick blade. And even going back to characters, there's no massive paragraphs for their abilities. It's all condensed, which is very appreciated, though I do wish I could see the actual damage numbers and extra details like scalings on my abilities when I'm mid-game, but that's fairly minor as the game is still in beta, so we'll leave it as something that I would like to see in the future. There are actually 2 mechanics I only realised while editing that I forgot to bring up. The first and most obvious one is the fact that this game is top-down, but it uses vision cones. You can't see behind you unless there's an item or ally getting vision of that direction, which adds an actual stealth element to fights. But the less noticeable one is a comeback mechanic that got added. When you're the last player standing on your team, you get fired up, increasing the damage you do, and this has genuinely saved me in some fights. The bonus damage is the reason you can live to tell the tales of those 1v2s, or if you're absolutely insane, those 1v4s. It really adds that extra clutch element, which just makes this game exhilarating. There's also an alternate game mode, in case you're not in the mood for a battle royale in Arena. Though I am an idiot and I forgot to actually record my Arena footage, so I can't really show much at all. It's basically just elimination, you know, 2 teams fight to the death. There is an objective as well. It's very simple, though I will say it is very fun. Arena just sends you into straight up combat, so if you don't like the downtime that you have to experience during a regular Battle Royale match, well, don't you worry, you can hop straight in. But in my opinion, I think Duos is by far the best game mode. You get some smaller scale, slightly more mechanical 2v2 fights happening frequently, and whenever you get into those massive dogfights where it's like 7 different pairs all fighting at once, yes, it's chaotic, but to be honest, I do love that chaos sometimes. Now, I will say it's not entirely perfect. Some of the characters do veer into the wow, you're incredibly annoying to fight a little more often than I would like to admit. My own example of this would be Shrike, this sniper girl who is just such a pain to fight. Because of the way her passive works, if she shoots you once, a mark gets applied to you, and if that mark gets shot again, you 9 times out of 10, you just die. If she hits you with exactly 2 auto attacks, regular attacks, whatever you want to call them, you're dead. That's all it takes for her, just 2 attacks and you die. I'm not trying to say that she's badly designed or anything, I am just saying that it's incredibly infuriating to try and play against her, and really I'm just sick of seeing her so much because she's one of the free characters. If I see another lobby of like 30 plus Shrikes in my Duos match, I'm going to go insane. But other than her, this game is phenomenal, and I can't wait to see how it grows, because if it's this fun in a closed beta, I can't wait to see what the release day version will look like. If you love MOBAs, whether it's League, Dota, HOTS, Pokemon Unite, any of them, then definitely give this game a look. But even if MOBAs wouldn't be your typical cup of tea, if they wouldn't be something that you would enjoy that much, if you've played any game at all, like Overwatch, Apex, even something like Smash Brothers, I'd highly recommend that you do give it a shot, at least for a couple games by the time the next playtest comes around, because it's so fun. If you don't like it then, sure luck, you gave it a try. To quote the devs who were quoting other players, it's like League meets Apex meets Smash, which is quite the strange statement, but it really does encapsulate the game well. And honestly, the fact that they got all of those games and got pretty much all the good pieces and avoided nearly all of the bad things you hear about them is actually incredible. So you can really see that I am being in full seriousness here when I say this game is damn close to peak, if not already at peak. If you want to try it out, if you want to sign up, I'll leave my own referral code in the description. I'll leave other links to the place just in case my referral code starts working. Please take a look at it. If you want to try the next beta, by all means, come in. More players, the better. But that's me for today, and I do want to say that I am also live on Twitch as this video goes live, so if you want to stop by, sure look, you know where to go. But for now, if you have any thoughts on Supervive, or just anything else you want to drop in the comments, by all means, do it. I want to read what you have to say. But for now, if you're still here, go on. Drop a like, a sub, all that YouTube stuff, and I'll talk to you next time, lads.